want to talk about One Piece quite quick, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Because I know you watched
Yeah, of course, yeah.
the live action pilot last night, and
Yeah.
all I see online, I still haven't got around to watching it, but all I see online is that everyone's like really enjoying it, really good IMDb ratings and like Rotten Tomatoes, like all the ratings for the show have been really good. It's been received very well, considering most live anime shows do absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. It doesn't translate well, or they don't manage to translate it well. So that, obviously that has got me thinking. One Piece is already doing extremely well, like as a TCG. The set that is it still due to come out? I'm not 100% sure, but is it OP5 in Japanese?
That's come out now, yeah.
It's out, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
a extremely popular set because of the cards inside it. You've got those manga rare cards again, which are really high pull rates. You've got a signature card in there, I'm pretty sure. There's a signature card in there as well. So that was already like a really hype set. Like it was sold out everywhere. A lot of hype around that set. And now you've got One Piece releasing as a live action that's doing really well. I'm thinking like, yeah, what's going to happen? Like, is this going to be, it's already a big TCG. Do you think it's going to get more eyes onto the card game?
That's a good point, actually. And I have to say, I didn't think about that. And usually I do think about these things, but I think going back to just the episode that I watched, as somebody that has very little knowledge on One Piece, my only knowledge of One Piece is through Matt, honestly. And I'm not interested in watching a million episodes of an anime. But the first episode I really enjoyed. It was a little bit goofy at times, but I think that probably is in line with what the show is anyway. But I really enjoyed it. It looks beautiful as well, and I think for it to have such good reviews early on is very rare for, as you said, an adaptation from an anime, because that never happens.
No.
Like I can't think of many. I can't think of any off the top of my head that have actually done really well. And usually people review bomb stuff when it first comes
Yeah.
out. So the fact that it's already got good reviews
Yeah.
clearly means something. So I'd recommend anybody that is or isn't a One Piece fan to check it out, just to enjoy it. But it's a good point about where the TCG is going to go. I think One Piece has actually been, what I really like about One Piece is that it's been growing, and there isn't this like hype around it, right? Compared to a lot of these other TCGs, there's these moments in other TCGs where it's just up and down, and it's kind of like, you'll have these extreme variances that are going up and down. Whereas with One Piece, it feels more organic.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that we had, I think a month or two ago, we had the most recent English set release, which was OP3. And now, of course, we've got the Japanese set, which is OP5. So it's usually two sets different. So we won't get this set until next year for English. But it's definitely, One Piece is something that I'm in the process of stocking on my store anyway, because I've opened the cards. I've opened quite a lot of the cards now. I've got some graded cards. I've got singles. I really enjoy the art.
Yeah.
They look absolutely beautiful. I know that you've looked into some of the trophy cards. I don't know if you picked any up, because I know sometimes you pick up stuff and I don't hear about it.
No, I have. I feel like it's a weird one. I've always been like, as you know, like I've always been curious about the TCG, and there's been times where I've been quite close to picking up some event cards or some trophy cards, like months ago. Last year probably at this point, whenever it came out. And again, I looked at it probably a couple of weeks back because of the whole OP5 hype and how popular that set seems to have been. So yeah, I've always been like close to picking some up. I think I've picked up like a random pack or a couple of packs that got opened on stream once.
Yeah.
So I've got some of the, just some random cards, but yeah, because I've not watched it, I'm not necessarily as invested personally into getting into the card game, especially when you're trying to juggle like Weiss Wars and all sorts of other card games. But I guess what made me think about that is like, I know very shortly I'm going to be watching the live action, and I know if I enjoy that show, I'm going to be really, really tempted to buy some cards.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing that, I'm like, surely that's the same for other people who have maybe wanted to get into it but never got around to buying it because, you know, there's so much other things to buy. And maybe the same thing will happen. Maybe they'll watch the show and then be like, yeah, this is it. Okay, I'm going to buy some of the cards because that was awesome. The characters were great. And now I want to pick up a booster box or whatever. And then that's a slope to then picking up graded cards, then, you know, going, getting the chase cards and getting really into it. So, yeah, it's just a thought I had that maybe the live action being successful, especially around the release of a really popular set, could be some catalyst into another like big demand growth in the TCG. But I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. I think I have somebody that has been tracking data for a lot of card games in terms of their growth and that, and One Piece has been growing at quite a good rate. I know playable wise, it's a lot of people are playing One Piece, and in English they really, I think it was Yellow they recently introduced. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I do think there is correlation there. It reminds me of, not TCG related, but I remember when the MCU got big, and I actually started getting into comics around that time. Like I'd got into comics a little bit before, but when the MCU dropped, it was like 2008, I think it was, something like that. That's when but I think it was just naturally because I was old enough to really go into a comic book store. And I remember asking the guy that was owning the comic book store, I think like 2009 to 10, after like we've had a couple of these MCU, I think after the Avengers came out. And I said, "Oh, I bet you've seen like massive sales of comic books now since like the MCU's got big, like superheroes are big now." And he was like, "Honestly, no, we haven't. Like, it hasn't changed anything." And I was like, "Interesting," because like like Marvel at the time had done a big push into releasing. They did like they changed everything, and they went into doing like they did an Iron Man series. They did obviously Captain America. They started rebooted all the series in line with the MCU and that. And they brought like some of the characters like Iron Man wasn't particularly popular before the MCU got in, and he was like, "Yeah, it hasn't changed." And I always found that interesting. I think I must have been about 13 or 14 thinking, but that makes no sense. This many people are into superheroes right now. And he said that it's just a different, the people that are watching people that are watching these superhero movies that weren't interested in superheroes are generally casuals. And that doesn't translate well to actually buying power as such. So it'll be a bit interesting to see what happens with One Piece, because I think it's a little bit different, as you said, because the game is already doing quite well, and there's going to be people that have gone on the fence about it already. I've seen it with other card games where I've got a lot of people that DM me about Flesh and Blood, and they haven't purchased anything yet. And then over time, they're warming a little bit to it, and something might happen in another card game, and they go, "Do you know what? Right, that's it." And the pin drops, and it could be this moment, honestly, for One Piece. So it'll be interesting to see, and in a couple of weeks' time when we revisit this, Mike might have dropped 10 grand into One Piece trophies.
Do you know what? I feel like if I had the money, I would have done it. The 2 times I've already considered it.
Yeah.
But I just don't. At the moment, I don't have the money to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, it's one of those things. There's some really expensive cards in One Piece, but I mean, I would recommend anyone just getting a box, honestly, of any of the sets. I think a lot of I know Romance Dawn in the second set got reprints recently, so they're quite, whether it's Japanese or English. I had a lot of fun opening all the One Piece I have, kind of like Digimon as such. Like I really enjoy opening Digimon as well. I think One Piece cards look good, but it'd be interesting to see what happens. It's a card game that has a good real push really to be a mainstay in the top 5 TCGs. Yeah,
definitely. It's definitely like you said. It's been organic. The growth of it has just been really organic. That doesn't seem to be. It's not as heavily focused in investing from what I can tell. So I'm not in it, but there's going to be aspects of that involved. But it just seems like very genuine. Like the people that are buying it and collecting it, it all just seems like very genuine interest, which is obviously great for a TCG.